Hey loved one, it is TJ and I am often asked about how do I quiet my mind? How do I meditate? You know, a lot of people say that they have a hard time with just sitting and not thinking about anything, and I completely get it because that was me. And a lot of times it still happens. You know, it's just a part of the human experience. But the way I approached it is I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself because you have to start somewhere, and I started off, let me just be still. There were situations where I felt like I needed to sit and be still, so that kind of helped to catapult me into that moment. And I would go into a closet, a bathroom, or somewhere kind of quiet, and then maybe cut the light out and sit there for a minute and just take some centering breaths. I would do at least three, and sometimes I would be very audible, like, because maybe I would feel myself getting a little upset or a little excited about something. And then the times when I didn't feel that way and I wanted to sort of just play around with meditation, I would just go in and just sit and do the same thing. And sometimes if you into praying and stuff, you go in and you say a prayer. I would do that, and I would ask for help. I mean, people don't realize that you can just ask for help. You don't have to, you're not alone. We're never alone, and you don't have to sit there and try to figure it out with the thinking mind. And that's the part of the problem. We use the front part of our brain instead of just feeling into it and allowing our subconscious brain, which is in the back, do the work. Just kind of relax and feel into it. Stop trying to logic everything out because not everything is supposed to be logical. In fact, I would say the subconscious trumps the conscious mind, and people might argue with me on this, but I feel like that's the reason why a lot of us are in our own way, because we're always logicking things out and we're always just in the way, overthinking all up here. Anyhow, so the point of this video is to give you some tips on what might help you quiet your mind, and it is a form of meditation. I would start with 5 minutes. I would start with 15 or 20. No judgment either way. No pressure on yourself either way. And if you are within that 5 minutes or the 15 or 20 minutes and you find your mind continuously drifting off, just gently bring it back to zero. Just gently bring it back. If there's a thought, observe it and then let it float on out. And then just bring it on back. And if it seems like it's just a lot of that, then that means it's time to get up. No problem. No pressure. I have meditated in a room where there was noise. You can meditate while you're washing dishes and cleaning the house. You can meditate while you're doing different chores. You can meditate. I mean, sometimes you can meditate depending on what kind of job you have. You can sort of do a meditation, just focusing in on that one thing and just doing the job. Some things you can do really well in autopilot. For example, washing dishes. You don't have to think about that. You just do it. Go into a meditation then. I have been in a room because I said I need to be able to go within myself no matter what's going on. So I have challenged myself to be in a room full of people, or even be in a room where there's TV going, noise, where I can just go within myself and spend 5 to 15 minutes there. And instead of seeking quiet or being distracted by the noise, excuse me, what I would do is listen to it. What am I hearing a lot of? I might be hearing a lot of laughter. So then I zone in and I focus. I focus in on the laughter. So it might be all kinds of voices, but there's laughter, there's cheer. Focus on that. If the birds are chirping loud and the fan is going, then I focus on those two sounds together. And that's what I hone in on. So for me, it's a lot about focus. But let me get back into how you quiet your mind. Number one, focus on the spark or the sparkle and shape of a crystal. If you are into crystals, or even if you're not, say you have a clear quartz crystal, you focus in on the shape of it. Look at how it grows. Does it have lines going down the sides of it? Study the lines. Just look at it. Appreciate the beauty and just stare into it. All the shapes and the intricacies on the inside of the crystal. A lot of quartz crystals have rainbows. Focus on the rainbows and the sparkle. Okay. Another option would be light a candle and focus on the flame. Just watch it flicker and just sit there and focus on the flame. Or watch the smoke of an incense. Light an incense and just watch that incense just, belly dance up is what I'll call it. It'll do a snake wiggle, swirl, belly dance. That is fun. I like playing with the crystals. I'll get a flashlight and just lay there like a child, and focus in on these crystals. And looking at even like all of the markings and things. It's broken up here. I look at that. I just look for new things. I look for shapes. And the same with the smoke. The smoke is always making all these different shapes. And just watch it and just focus in on that. Isolate a sound in the room, like I was saying earlier when I was talking about the fan or even the birds chirping. Is there a clock ticking? Right now over here there's water. I have a little fountain. So I might listen to, the fountain, and I'll kind of isolate that. The hum of your air conditioner, or like I said, a fan. Counting. That's a good one. Focus on your breath. I like to count my breaths. I'll even focus on the breath going in and my belly expanding and then my belly collapsing. I'll go into focusing on, the air coming out. I'll focus on the air coming in. And sometimes I might change the color. So if it's coming in, it's a golden light, healing light. And when it goes out, it's an olive green. And I might, even focus on the fact that it's transmuting into golden light before it enters back in, or before it goes out into the ethers or whatever. There are so many things that you could do. You could be really creative with this. Like I said, no pressure. Have fun with it. And before you know it, you will actually have a steady meditating or meditative practice. And I would say do this every single day. The best time to do meditation is first thing in the morning. But if you can't do that, do it right before you go to sleep. In the evenings, I like to meditate throughout the day. It doesn't hurt to do any of it. And when you're meditating and you're quieting your mind and you're just being still, you allow creativity to flow through. You allow your vibration, to raise because you're not overthinking. A lot of times when we think, we're thinking about things that don't serve us. We are thinking about disempowering things, asking disempowering questions of ourselves. So meditating actually soothes all of that and it tempers all of that. And like I said before, when you get distracted, just bring your mind back to what you're doing, back to your focus. And if it becomes a thing where it feels like there's a lot of resistance in that, then you just let it go into the next time. Okay. And as I mentioned before, I'm looking at my notes. It doesn't have to be quiet. Just find focus on the things that bring you pleasure. I hope that's helpful. I am TJ Sykes, and I love sharing insight that helps you expand your mind, heal your body, and feed your soul. Until the next time, live simply and be kind.